Has the White House abandoned the We the People foundation of our country? It would be the first time in history that town halls and will people polls don't matter. High poll and unique of Gibbs.
The latest Gallup poll shows the president's approval rating at 55%. The numbers have been dipping throughout the summer as concern grows over health care reform.
And more in my one-on-one interview with White House Press Secretary Robert Gibbs, he told me the president can't make decisions based on polls.
If we governed by Gallup, right, where would we be? Most of the big banks would have failed. There'd be no domestic auto industry. And we'd likely have left Afghanistan before the election, and whether or not that election would have happened based on the security concerns would have been up in the air. All of those things would have been on a poll politically popular. I think you could make a very credible case that they're not in either our economic or our national security interests. So I think one of the messages that we took from the election was, this is a president who was elected to deal with tough problems that had long festered in a town that was far more comfortable blaming each other and playing political games than addressing them. Some of those solutions are not going to be easy, but I think the president is confident that in the long run, the country will be on a stronger footing. These guys are all tough. They've been in a political campaign where in 2007, we were headed toward finishing third or fourth in Iowa. Right. In 2008, we were headed toward blowing a presidential election that was considered a layup 2 months out. So we've been called idiots before. We're comfortable with taking the long view of politics and of public policy and keeping our eye on that horizon.
Now, one of the things that all of you guys repeated during the campaign many times was that the president, and he said so himself, was going to run a very transparent administration. We've seen a series of issues crop up. Detainee photos, terror memos, visitor logs to the White House, where you have found yourself accused of failing to live up to that promise. You're an old soccer goalie. We got the picture of you in your soccer days right over there. Is part of your job actually to keep the press, to deflect those inquiries from the press, and keep that transparency from fully happening?
No. In fact, John, we've been the most transparent administration in the history of this republic. And in the next...
Do you think you've already achieved that?
I do, and I think by the end of this week, it'll even be greater.
And Nora, that close-up of that photo didn't show the earring that Gibbs was wearing when he was in those soccer days.
Exactly.
But what he was referring to about transparency was the policy announced today to open up the visitor logs, with some exceptions, as Andrea Mitchell was talking about in the last hour.
Gizmos!